Welcome, everyone. And we're just waiting for the other co-host. Gerald is here already. We're just going to leave the mics off until question time. Thank you for being here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and start because it is 6:01. I thought it was a little later than that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm so happy and honored to have Sass Jordan here with us, a musician, artist, Queen of Rock of Canada, and Gerald Auger. He is also a native Indian Cree, and we're going to be speaking about the awakening today. But I'm going to introduce them and share a little bit about them, their biographies. Sass Jordan grew up in as Canada's Queen of Rock, started in Europe and edged across the pond to the veins of metal pulsing in the musical metallurgy of Montreal in the 70s, and continued on in her years as in Quebecois. The artists of the decades were quite unique, and they were basically, she was creating something quite new, and she was coming to the forefront with her music. And in the years since that, she found herself working with many who inspired her. Aerosmith, the Rolling Stones, AC/DC, Steve Miller Band, Van Halen, the Foo Fighters, Cheap Trick, Santana, and many others, Joe Hodgson, April Wine, Jeff Healey, and countless others, some of my favorites also. She also won many awards, including a Judo and Billboard, and has sold over millions of records worldwide. I really want to say hello to Sass Jordan. Welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Welcome. Yes. Well, we made it. We made it.
We did it. We're technological geniuses.
Oh, gosh. Welcome. I'm going to also introduce Gerald, as he's been in the last space with us, and people wanted him back. And we're really excited to have him back to share much of his knowledge with this awakening that has been happening. And he too is been an award winner nationwide with National Native Role Model. And he received the Governor General of Canada, spent 2 years visiting more than 30 communities across Canada, inspiring his Aboriginal peers, relating stories about experiences and bondings with locals through cultural events and ceremonies. He was also spotted in 1995 in the Canada Winter Games, and he became one of the supporting roles of supporting actors in the 1998 film Emile West, which he also starring David Bowie, and he also played with many renowned actors, and also worked with Steven Spielberg, Stan Douglas, and many others. And I want to welcome also to our space Gerald Auger. Thank you so much for coming back again. I really am so honored. And also I wanted to share that you are also a truth knowledge keeper, and tonight he is also co-creating with Sister Sass Jordan, with love, and speaking in regards to the 8th fire prophecy, the women and men of wisdom, the rainbow warriors, ancestors from the stars, collective spiritual awakening, and the global shift in consciousness. Welcome, Gerald.
Thank you, sister, for having me back. And yes, I am truly honored to share this sacred space with my sister, Sass Jordan. And that's been an amazing journey. I'm looking forward to sharing what little I've learned on this physical plane that we call this journey that we call life. So thank you. I'm honored.
Yes, thank you. Well, I wanted to start with Sass. I know we spoke to you last week, and people have a little bit of an idea of where what you speak of, but I wanted to get just a little bit of an input on Sass. Uh, I wanted to know what your journey has been like with this awakening. And I know, for both of you being in the, you know, artist environment, the big lights and the big sounds, and I know many of them have gotten lost along the way. But you both seem to have connected, and you also, Sass, have connected to your own awakening, and I'd like to know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Isn't this amazing that this is happening on the
Yes.
super full moon eclipse in Scorpio? So that means that we're all turning into the phoenix, you know? It's like the rebirth. This is it. It's going to go for another year apparently too. So I mean, if you're into astrology at all, it's pretty
Yes, I
wild
am.
stuff. Yeah, me too. So in my journey, really started out pretty mundane in the sense that I wanted to um, connect with other people, and the easiest way that I could think of was through music because I was naturally drawn to it. You know what I mean? And it was the easiest way to connect with people in large groups, which always excites me. I'm always fascinated by that kind of energy. And in the beginning, it was more about finding some kind of acknowledgement. I think, we all start out going, who am I? What am I doing here? Well, I don't know that we all do that, but I was. I was like, what the heck am I doing in this madhouse? And how do I get heard? And interestingly enough, over the years, it has morphed more into how can I help? The conclusion I think that I've come to over all these years is that there truly is nothing but love, and everything else is a construct, an illusion, so to speak. And I mean, these are lofty words, and very, very. It's challenging to find a way to really articulate it in words. But what I do, I decided and realized recently that what I do as a performer, as a musician, as a songwriter, as a singer, I am it's simply a healing process for myself and for anyone who chooses to listen. And it's almost like a ministry at this point. I'm no longer interested in personal gain in the sense that I don't really care if how I'm seen as, oh, I'm some great big bloody rock star. I really don't care. I am here to heal myself and to heal anyone else who's interested in it, and that I could be of service on that journey.
That is so beautiful. Thank you, Sass. This is exactly my sound. You sound like you've gone through my journey. It's exactly the same.
I think we're all there. I think we're all
I
there.
know.
Everyone listening.
I just feel like everyone that's gone through this journey is now at this point where they're really sharing themselves. They're coming out and they're bringing themselves to the forefront and really wanting to share the message, which is really important. But I really want to thank you and for joining us today. And please step in any time or at any point of the conversation, and as we want to hear more from you.
Awesome. And I want to thank everybody who's on this. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Yeah.
Your energy is making this awesome. That's my cat.
Oh, that's a cat.
She's
Thank
agreeing.
you. Oh, wow. Gerald, we really want to hear more of the creator stories and the prophecies that you shared that you wanted to cover today. And I'm just going to let you be and share that with us because I'm open. I'm really interested in hearing this.
Mhm. Aha, unisabita, mamahtawen auksiman to hunigan na naskumao. Guastum winihio peaks quaniguamiuk si mantugagi meat peaks wiun. Kapawam kaki ganigan stay and ungahio mams kuchigian. Pagase kakio kisogam tutamagi kistovam stay binandas kumpnawa. Guasuka tamagana wigan momatanski wismok him going mams kuchigian. Kakio gisagi nawa. So I thank Creator first and foremost for allowing me to be here again to share this sacred space. And I spoke in my Woodland Cree language because that's the language that the Creator had blessed me with. And I always need to honor that part of my human being and that part of my ancestry and my heritage, my culture, who I am as a four-directional human being. And I want to honor and acknowledge each and every one of you that are listening tonight and forgive me for how I'm about to make you feel, but I love you. So, and I thank you for that introduction, my sister. And I want to acknowledge a couple other sisters I see listening: Lori, Tempore, and Kim. I see you're listening as well. And thank you for bringing your divine feminine energy to this sacred space, Lori and Kim. So, thank you for that. And so, we talk about why we are here today, and talking with my sister Sass earlier.
Gerald, your mic just went off.
These trials and tribulations and not knowing why things are going sideways or why things are falling apart or they're being forced to look at themselves. And the simple message I've been giving them was that, well, this is, we're in that time of great change, of that great awakening that is happening. And the message of late last week, where the Creator had said through Spirit that the world was about to understand humility. And shortly thereafter, the world would come to understand what it is to live without gratitude. And the last message over the last couple of days has been that the world is about, the people are about to be forced to see their truth. And this is what, when these messages come the way they come, I accept them for what they are. And last night was kind of the crescendo of everything that the people have been going through and the messages that have been coming. And I sent this out to the select network I work with in as light workers, that we all work together as light workers. And my sister Sass obviously is one of them, as is Lori, as is Kim, and as you are now as well, Dee. It was that forgiveness, that we have to learn to walk with forgiveness. And the only way you can forgive those that have wronged you, that have hurt you, that have broken your heart, you have to learn to forgive yourself first. And for me, how I was able to forgive myself, it was actually a Welsh brother who shared that with me about one of the childhood traumas I had experienced. And my Welsh brother said to me, he says, in order for you to forgive those that have hurt you, that put you through that trauma, you have to forgive yourself first. So I went to the place where one of the traumas that had happened to me, the abuse that had happened to me, I went to that place where the sexual abuse had happened, and I put tobacco down. And I said, Gerald, I forgive you for all that you've done to hurt you, in hurting yourself through the abuse, through the alcohol, the drug abuse, the broken friendships, the broken relationships, the anger, the resentment, the jealousy, the trust, the abandonment issues you carried. I forgive you for that, Gerald. And then I was able to forgive those who had wronged me in the past, because I came to understand what forgiveness really was. But that didn't happen overnight for me. I had to walk away from Holly Weird and the world that I had come to know in 2009 to heal from my emotional, my mental, my physical, my spiritual, my sexual abuse, to be able to understand and prepare myself for this time of where the world is as it goes through this great shift in awakening and a great shift in consciousness. And in 2000, then I walked back. I went back into the wilderness. I went into the wilderness for 6 years, and it was constant for me. The 6 years I was in the wilderness, I had to heal and look at myself emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually for 24/7, 365 days a year for 6 years, because I had to unload 30 years of trauma that I had experienced and carried with me to be able to sit here today to share with you what my sister Sass said about we're here to help people heal. We're not here to save anybody. We're not here to heal anybody. We're only here to live and lead by example. But it was in the 6 years in the wilderness that these prophecies were being brought forth to me. These visions were being brought forth to me, and they were sharing them through ceremony, through elders, through ancestors, through the dreamscape. And they had said to me in 2015 when I left my sabbatical, and you'll see on my social media, and when you go back as far as 2015, you'll see these posts. I had been talking about this flash of light that the world would see in the heavens, that this global shift in consciousness would happen, that the people there would come a time that people would go through this great shift. And part of those, what I was shared with was that they had said in 2015 that there would come a time where the women and men of wisdom would gather, and those would be women and men from the four races of the human family. These would be the knowledge keepers. These would be the healers. These would be the seers, the empaths, the telepaths, the healers. All the spiritually gifted ones would start gathering to be able to bring that guidance, that direction, that healing that would be needed in this time as our families, as our communities, as our friends, as our colleagues go through a time of pain, need, and suffering, so that we would be able to fulfill that agreement we had made with our higher power, whomever that may be, if it be Buddha, Allah, God, Jesus, Creator, whomever that may be. The agreement we had made with our higher power to be born in this time, to be able to bring that guidance, that direction, that balance to these people's lives. So that was one that they had shared, and they said shortly thereafter, the rainbow warriors would begin to rise at that time. And the rainbow warriors would be the ones who would bring that healing, the guidance, the direction. And in one of the ceremonies that I had, one of the many ceremonies I had sat with in the years since then, I've been on this journey for 31 years, but it's been the last 13 years a lot of these messages have become more clarity, and part of it.
You're good, Gerald.
Yeah, no, there was a call coming in. I had to
Oh, it's
put it
okay.
decline. So anyway, with that time when they said the rainbow warriors, that the rainbow warriors would begin to rise. But those rainbow warriors were the ones that they said in ceremony were the two spirited ones, that's the Winawag in my language, the ones that walk between two worlds, the male and the female, and those were the LGBTQT that they talked about. But the world had come to suppress and repress these gifted ones and to ostracize them. And for us as four directional people, we honor and revere these two spirited people because they have multiple gifts and abilities, and they have medicines, and they have knowledge that they are there to bring and share with the world. But unfortunately, some of that community has also lost its way in understanding the sacred role and responsibility to be that rainbow warrior. So that was the other one, that they would go through a time of change, a time of growth, a time of healing to bring that awareness to the world. And the last one that they talked about was that they shared with that there would come a time our ancestors from the stars would return. And that when that time comes, that is when I was told in August of 2017, I was told in a ceremony, and other people heard the ancestors say, come and bring the message there's going to come a time and that day, there's going to come a day, and that day's not that far off. Humanity will see a flash of light in the stars, and it'll shift the consciousness of humanity forever on that day. And they said there would be millions, if not billions, would lose their minds, have heart attacks, or they would they wouldn't be able to, and they would have heart attacks because it would literally blow their mind or give them, startle them at a point where they wouldn't, their minds and their hearts wouldn't be able to handle it. And there, we've always had that connection to our ancestors from the stars. We've always had a connection to that big dipper in the night sky, to that little dipper in the night sky, to Orion's belt, to all these galaxies and constellations in the night sky, because we've come to believe, and we have been told in ceremony by the ancestors, by the elders, that everything is created for a reason, and it will serve a purpose. The creator does not create anything that's bad. If something goes sideways or goes bad, it's because we have lost that connection and we have become lost. Just like there's good Christians, there's bad, they're lost. There's Christians that are lost. Just like there's good spiritual people, there are spiritual people who've become lost. That is why the Creator had gifted us the gift of free will. We are free to make choices, but we're not free from the consequences. So, and that's a part of where the world is right now. The world is being shown what we need to do to reconnect with our higher power, and what we need to do to be there for our fellow human being. And that is why I'm honored and humbled to walk with my sister Sass Jordan on this journey of, as we move forward into the next season in life, is because my sister is giving my Western brothers and sisters the permission to embrace those spiritual gifts and abilities. And I'm giving my people, the four directional people, the permission to walk with the Western brothers and sisters in unity, in love, light, unity, and healing. Because until we do that, our children and their children's children will never walk in a world filled with love, kindness, and compassion. So in a nutshell, that's kind of why we're here. And now I'm done.
It's
So thank you. But no, I hope that made sense to you all, and I thank you.
yes, Gerald, that's beautiful. Sass, did you want to share something? I saw your mic open up there.
I just did it, but it's because it's my brother, and I was going to say something, and then I realized, wait a minute, there's a whole bunch of us on here. I'm not going to
It's
say it.
okay.
I was going to say, what are you talking about, Willis?
You talking about Woodland?
It's just a joke that we have. It's a joke that we have because we're, elder. Right, Gerald? We're elder.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Gerald and I both have a very strong feeling about spirituality being connected to
Mhm.
laughter and to joy. And if we can't laugh at ourselves, I
Mhm.
mean, you know what I mean? It's like we all of this stuff is extremely serious, but at the same time, there has to be that connection of laughter. Like
Mhm.
yoga, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, it's so we have to, as serious and intense as we are, we have to have the other side of joy and laughter, because that's what really, that is one of the most healing things on the
Mhm.
planet, is to be
Mhm.
able to laugh together.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was my comment. Thank you.
And that was for us. When I say four directional people, I try and not use the term, which is the Latin term indigenous, because prior to European contact, we were called a nihio, four directional people. So that's what I mean when I say four directional. I'm talking about the indigenous, Native American, from that human family, right? But that's why me and my sister, we laugh all the time when we talk, because laughter is a medicine. And for us as four directional people, humor is a medicine. And I was told when I left my sabbatical in 2015, they said to me, probably a year after I left, they said, don't ever take your life don't ever become too spiritual that you forget to be a human being, meaning that I have to learn when I stumble, when I fall, and we all do. That's how we learn. And these mistakes are a form of teaching. We're there to teach us about what we need to look at, right? So when you take so now that's why with my sister when we laugh, it's just like, well, you got to learn to take a grain of salt in a lot of the work that we do, and a lot of the people we interact with in the industry, and even in now in the healing capacity. As we sit in ceremony all the time, and sometimes my sister can't be in the same physical space, so she does her part of where she's at, pull her in, and because spirituality, spirit world does not know time and space, right? So
Yeah, and thank God for these spaces so we can bring everybody in and share this knowledge. It's so beautiful that we can actually have this platform to do these things. And Gerald, in regards to the spirit, the light beings, the rainbow warriors. I also heard from South American um, uh, shaman that exactly what you had said about the light was going to be so strong that energetically it was going to create heart attack. Exactly what
Mhm, mhm,
exactly what you just said, and I heard that
mhm,
about 20 years ago.
mhm,
That this time was going to come and people wouldn't be able to handle the energy of it. That's
mhm,
how he shared it. It would be too strong for them to, like you said,
mhm,
connect the heart and
mhm,
the mind. They couldn't come
mhm,
to terms with what was showing up.
mhm,
But yeah, this is very powerful
mhm.
information. And how do we prepare for this? How do we prepare for this time? What is it that we need to do as beings here? How do
Mhm.
we prepare? How do you feel we
Mhm.
should be preparing, Gerald?
Well, for me, it's like what my sister said. We're here to help people understand the true power of healing. Because when you can live in balance emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, then you're able to understand that instead of being a victim mentality of saying, "Well, why is this happening to me?" You say to yourself, when trial, tribulation come, you say, "What is this teaching me?" Because when you come to live in balance emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, you come to love yourself. And guess what? When you come to love yourself, you get to know your higher power. For me, I could never know love without knowing my creator, which is my higher power. So when I know love, then I know creator, and then I know everything is happening for a reason. And that's why I was so relentless with my healing in the 6 years in the wilderness, because I got tired of waking up broke with broken friendships, broken relationships, dope sick, hungover, whatever, waking up angry and resentful. I just didn't want to live like that no more, and I got tired of numbing everything that I wasn't willing to face. And that was the thing when I realized I got sick and tired of being sick and tired of myself, and they said, "Well, only I could change that, right?" So and that's why with the conversation that I had with my sister, one of the many was that this apocalypse that the world talks about, it's not doom and gloom for us as spiritual people. It's the unveiling of the truth, a truth that has been kept from the eyes and ears and hearts and minds of humanity. And that for to be able to, so we can become slaves to a system. And for me, when I unplugged in 2009, I said, I'm out of here. And like I can't do this. I don't want to be chasing that clock, that calendar anymore. I don't want to be numbing and not appreciating the true sacredness and sanctity of life. So I had to walk away from a lot of fake friends, a lot of fake situations in a fake world. I had thought I was living the dream when I wasn't, because of, and my sister can attest to this, where people think when you're in a public eye and that people adore you, they don't understand. For me, I came to understand that world as a very lonely existence, because I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know who was there for me and had my back. And only people would come and take what they needed from me, and I would be left alone. And I would tell the people that would come and get these autographs, and I was doing the public speaking and and everything I was doing. People would come to me and say, "Oh man, I love your life. I want your life. You get to travel the world, get paid to it, and be treated like a rock star." But then in the back of my mind, I didn't want to disappoint them because a lot of them were living their life vicariously through what I was posting on social media and the life I was living. I would say to myself, yeah, well, if you want to live a lonely existence, live out of a suitcase, eat hotel food, and not have time for meaningful friendships or relationships, and live a lonely existence, by all means. But I wouldn't, because I love my fans, my friends, my followers enough. But now Creator said you have to start sharing the truth with the people, because a lot of people don't understand really what it is to be in alignment with yourself, with your higher power, and with those in your life, right? So for me, that's what I believe needs to happen. What do you think, sister?
Oh, I totally agree with you, brother. I'm thinking for a concrete and, shall we say, practical way
Mm,
to navigate through this stuff, because see it sometimes. If somebody says to me, "Oh, love yourself," I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, I don't even I so what the concrete and practical way that I have personally found, this may work for others, I don't know, is to spend time every single day with yourself and only yourself. That means no cell phone,
mm,
none of that garbage. You know what I mean? So you go, you don't have to, it's not some big, airy, fairy thing. All you got to do is just sit quiet, and it only takes 5 minutes, literally only 5 minutes. Sit quietly with yourself. You could do it while you're on the toilet, ladies and gentlemen, to be really glamorous. So yeah, you can just sit there and you just breathe, be aware of your breathing, and just go into the very inside of yourself with your breathing. You don't need to get any wonderful downloads from spirit or anything like. You don't have to. Don't expect anything like that. Just be in touch with the very inner core of you, which you can do through being aware of your breathing. Really, that's it. 5 minutes a day and more if you can. That would rock. But if you can't, because you have a life and you have children and you have friends and you have a job and you're freaked out and all that crap that we all, you know what I mean? But if you can just spend 5 minutes a day in that breathing, even just when you wake up, today is a new day, brand new. I am here. I'm still alive, I think.
mm,
I'm back in this matrix. How am I going to control it myself? Through being in touch with myself. That's how I see it. Now, I agree 100% with everything that you said, Gerald, as usual, because
mm,
how we. But the thing is the outside world. If you look at it as if it's the movie The Matrix, it's really a construct.
mm,
Who's running this construct? Let's
mm,
see. Well, there's an enormous amount of, shall we say, influencers running the construct, but who's navigating it for themselves? Oh,
mm,
me, me. So if I get to choose. I get to choose,
mhm,
like Gerald said, it's
mhm,
free will. Creator gives us free will, but Creator does not take the consequences of the choices we make in that free will away from,
mhm,
so
mhm,
it's our free will. Just know that it never ends. You can never get it wrong. You're just learning, you're expanding your awareness. And if you're on this call, clearly
mm,
you're interested in that.
mhm,
You're already on the path.
mhm, mhm.
That's what I have to say.
No.
Yaki McYackerson signing off.
But that's the beautiful thing about what my sister talking about. When you can learn to listen to the silence, that's when you can hear your higher power speak to you through thought or through the dreamscape or in whatever capacity. For me, I was fortunate. I chose. to walk away and be in the wilderness for 6 years. There were Saturday nights I was sitting in a sweat lodge and saying to myself, "Why are you here? You should be in a club somewhere, living the dream that you were living." And then I had to say to myself, "Well, I wasn't living the dream when I was in that nightclub, either be in LA or be in Toronto or be in Vancouver, wherever it may be. I wasn't living. I was running, right? And that's but I was blessed. That's how I know my creator is swift, is that the creator gave me a grandson in 2008. And Maverick, my grandson, was my anchor for the next 6 years, because my life went from going 110 miles an hour to 5 clicks an hour, 5 kilometers an hour. And I had to be able, but my grandson was there. But it was in that silence I got to really understand that the year before 2009, I was living the 1260 frequency. I was on 1260 frequency, being 60 seconds to a minute, 60 minutes to an hour, 12 months of the year. That's artificial time, like I said in the last conversation we had. And I come to understand what it is now, the 1328 frequency, and that's a full moon every 28 days, 13 times of the year, and that's creator's time. And that's the only species that lives that time is the four-leggeds, the two-leggeds, the ones that swim, the ones that crawl, the ones that fly. And of course, they are ancestors from the stars. So and they were the ones who said start sharing that with the people. Because until the people understand the difference between the 1260 frequency and the 1328 frequency, that sickness, cancer, and stress will continue in that world. And that even my sister knows about that. Is it the 420 frequency that we use in vibration and music, to how they changed that to another frequency as that? So it's those things, frequency, vibration, right? So.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch a little bit more upon the awareness aspect of it, where even in the morning when you're waking up out of your bed and turning over and sitting on the edge of your bed and paying attention to how you plant your feet on the ground and
Mhm.
how you're walking. Pay
Mhm.
attention to the steps that you take. Again, your
Mhm.
breath with that and moving, like pay attention to how your body is moving. Just that's the awareness, really
Mhm.
grounding into your body and taking breaths with
Mhm.
that. And that connects you to your higher power, connects you to, your intuition. Your messages do
Mhm.
come through. You may ask a question the night before and something just comes in and it gives you the
Mhm.
answers. It's so powerful when you're
Mhm.
very connected into your
Mhm.
body. So it's mind, body, spirit. It's
Mhm.
all of us. It's the whole
Mhm.
of us. It's not
Mhm.
one, not the other. It's all of it. We need to
Mhm.
connect to the whole being.
And sometimes when I wake up, I have to come back in one, because when you travel, when we sleep, right, it can be 12 different dimensions, and I have to come back and ground before I even sit up. And the most powerful thing, the other thing that Creator showed me the other night, and I've shared this with my sister, was when Creator showed me eternity 2 nights ago, and waking up and showing me what eternity would look like, when everything I was able to see, Creator revealed to me my unhealthy patterns and behaviors I had lived up until I went up into the wilderness. Show me all my unhealthy patterns and behaviors and everything else that I had done to myself and to others, through the abandonment, the trust issues, the anger, the resentment, everything that came with that trauma, showing me that in a second, and then the same second showing me what it is that to have love and peace when you find emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual balance. And I remember asking when I came out of it and I was able to ground myself, and I asked, okay, well, why are you showing me eternity now? Why of all times? And Creator said, through Spirit, said to me, well, I've showed you eternity when you were 16 years old, when you were when you were abusing alcohol because of your trauma. And remember when I took you to that dark place that was filled with shadows and the people were screaming and yelling, and how what I showed you of what alcohol will do to you if you don't get it under control. And that was the first time I showed you eternity. The second time I'm showing you now is because you earned that seat with me in spirit world when your work is done there. And that's how when the creator can show you eternity in a second of you, the past, the present, the future, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that just really literally blows your mind. But being on this journey for the last 31 years and saying, wow, now I'm just in awe when I see it. Before that, I would say, like my sister and me talk about, what are you talking about, Willis? But that's a part of it, is just learning that no, it's life is not what the world has been led to believe. And that, and as the world is unraveling as we speak, as the world is falling to its knees, it's being shown and reminded how they've forgotten their higher power, how they have forgotten their fellow human being. And we've become so arrogant as a species that we think we're the only ones living in these multiple universes that's continually expanding. That's pure arrogance, and that's purely from an egocentric mentality, and that's a part of it. That's why I said, please forgive me for how I'm about to make you feel, but I say I love you because everything I do is for my son, my grandson, now my granddaughter, and my fellow human being. And that because, like I said, it could be next week, could be 5 years from now, could be 10 years from now, could be 50 years from now. I'll be in a different plane, in a different existence. How am I going to live this day? That every day is a day closer to going home and going through a state of transition back into spirit form, right? So just live and let go. And I've learned that when you can surrender all natural resistance to the natural flow of life and let it be, you understand what it is when you say, just be in a moment, to live in a moment, right? So people say, I'm living in a moment and I am at peace, as they look at their clock, as their watch on their hand, as they're running out the door, looking back at the calendar and saying, okay, I'm living in a moment. Okay, good luck with that. So
I know also that you have a certain period of time that you can be with us. So I was wondering whether you were open to questions. Sass, you open to some questions?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, I would love to have. Here we go. We have some questions already. This is perfect. And if you can, whoever's speaking, keep your mic on, and whoever's not speaking, please turn your mics off. Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had a. Anyone have
no,
any questions for Gerald or Sass? There was someone there, and then they just jumped down.
We are
Okay.
all technological geniuses.
Maybe.
Oh my God, this stuff is confusing. I'll
Isn't
tell
it
you what.
crazy?
Yeah.
hmm
I think I see somebody saying requested. Polly.
Polly's coming up. There she goes. Hi, Polly. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for holding the space. Thanks, Gerald, Sass, and Dee. I don't have a question, but I was really hoping I'd get a chance to come up and tell Sass, oh my God, I love you. I absolutely love you. And you know what? You bring my heart joy because I've been asking, where's the music that's coming with us? And now I know you're coming with us and I want to cry. I Thank you for
Oh,
thank you for keeping your soul. I love you, hun. I love you a million times more now. So I'm in tears because I'm seeing it now. So thank you for holding your soul and thank you for staying with us and thanks for coming with us. And I'm just so excited. I can't contain myself. I'm gonna shut up now, okay?
you sound like me,
That's so beautiful.
Polly. Polly sounds like me. That's exactly how I feel. I feel so excited and enthusiastic and joyful for this time that we're in, even though it is unbelievably challenging for all of us. I know it is. And there's so much SHIT, because we can't swear, going on. And all of us are just like doing our absolute best. And I absolutely congratulate and love everyone. You're bloody trying. And you know what? God bless you.
Fireburst, go ahead. Oh, sorry, T-Boot. Sorry, Fireburst. TLBO. Go ahead, TLBO.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm very grateful for all what was said, but I don't believe in God. So how can I? I think there is, my faith is a little bit. So I wonder if you can guide me.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, for me, T, I work with so many people, and one of them had said, "Well, I'm an atheist," and they says, and we have to respect that, right? But then I asked this person, I said, "Do you have dreams?" And he said, "Yes." "Do you have deja vus?" And he said, "Yes." So that means there's a spiritual element to life that we're all being given that, right? And unfortunately, there have been some religions, some faiths that have disconnected the human being from that higher power. But if you can look back at your life, brother, and look at the miracles, the times that that things were going sideways in your life, that things turned around right at the last minute, or the little things that you appreciate in life, and the children and the family that you have. And that when you can find that, and if you don't know your higher power, you said it's not God, but what I did for myself, because I'm a product of intergenerational impact, and I did a film called Honor Thy Father when my father passed, and I wasn't allowed to send him home because he was buried on church property. I asked in ceremony, and I asked one night I was going to bed and say, "Well, if you, what are you? Higher power? Who are you? Do you exist?" And I was shown and taken into time and space, and the higher power that I come to know as Creator said, "I am neither male or female, but I am a being of light." Just look at your life and the times that you cried out, and the times things that happened for you, the little things, and then that you'll understand. But I can't reveal myself to you until you ask me, is the other part to you, whomever your higher power would be, T, that you want to ask. He said you have to open your mind and your heart to that. It doesn't have to be a guy sitting on a throne in the sky. Creator can be however you see your higher power. For me, the creator that I know is my best friend, and that I can laugh with my creator. I can get mad at my creator. I can even get really dark with my creator, but the creator says to me, "There is nothing you can do that'll make me love you less. Just like there's nothing
Amen.
you can do that'll make me love you more." Right? So just ask and say, "Show me what it is that I need to see to believe." Yeah, then that you could. I would begin there, brother. That's where I began 31 years ago. Does that make sense?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can hear you, brother.
No, it does not. I think you're like a priest or a sheikh or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So
It's like
ask yourself,
amen,
why don't you?
amen. It's like amen at the end of the prayer.
So ask yourself this, brother. Or ask yourself, why don't you believe in a higher power? Or why don't you believe in God?
No, it's a matter of he's not always good if he exists.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't like this white and black, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had my traumas, you had your traumas, but
Mm-hmm.
we always maybe thank God, or maybe sometimes we blame God if He exists. What I mean, this is not my
Mhm.
question. My question is, I thought we can supernatural mind wellness. So we can, without being God there, how can we reach the point of serenity, the point of being at ease with our memories, with our bad experience, with our bad
Oh,
moments? يعني, I mean, we
yes.
don't have to put God in the equation
Oh,
every time.
yeah.
Now, this was my question. I was surprised that it all rotate around God. So I was a little bit, out of context here. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, for me, and I'll see what my sister Sass has to say about it as well. But for me, I can say for how I was able to find the peace and the serenity and the ability to love myself after being emotionally, mentally, physically, and sexually abused and spiritually abused. I had to look at that trauma head on, face head on, and say, what was it teaching me, as opposed to why did this happen to me? Because I had to let go. I had to find the origin of the trauma. Either it be abandonment, either it be trust, either it be anger, either whatever it may be. I had to get to the core of it to be able to understand. Because how could I let go of something if I don't know the origin of it and if I wasn't prepared to look at it? So that's why I tell the people I work with, if healing was easy, everybody would do it. And that's the hardest part about healing, about finding peace and serenity, is doing the work to find it. As opposed to, that's why bad things are easy to come by and good things are harder to come by.
thank you.
What my question would be is, what do you think God is, that you believe or don't believe? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is God? Because we have been taught in all of our lives what God is, and that would have been from our culture or our family or our friends, whatever, or from the media. What is God? And I have to say, like my brother said, I personally do not believe that God is some being that sits on a throne in the sky. I think that if you sit in nature, right,
Mm.
you just
Mm.
absorb nature and watch nature, there would be God. That there would be my idea of God. It's something, it is a force that creates and does not judge. So I don't know what the hell it is. I mean, I'm afraid to use the word God because it's so weighted and loaded with all of our cultural ideas of it. To my idea, it's usually something judgmental. But what is the force that creates you and me and everything else that we experiences? What is that force?
Mhm.
That would be what I would call, I hate the word, I'm going to say it again though, God. That's what you know what I mean? Because I don't believe in God according to our cultural norms either. I think it's
Mhm.
crap. I think
Mhm.
it's a control, you know? So God, or whatever that force is within you and only you can connect with it and discover what it is. And like I said before, I think the only way to do that is to sit in silence with your own breath. It doesn't have to be some glamorous, big, huge, hello, I'm God. How are you doing today? It doesn't have to be any of that crap. It's just silence and peace, which you can find only
Mm.
within yourself.
Mhm.
That's my 2 cents. Thank you for listening. Bo.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Gerald, before I go to any of the other speakers, I was wondering whether you could elaborate a little bit about the eighth fire.
Mhm. Oh, the eighth fire that I was shared, that the ancestors. When I say ancestors, those are the ones who work behind the veil. And those are the ones they had said that we are in that time where we were living in the eighth fire has been lit, and that it wouldn't be, it's not a physical fire, it's a spiritual fire, and it has been lit in the hearts of all of humankind. And that, and really meaning that it's real, like our brother who just said, how do I find peace and serenity? And that really, that eighth fire is looking within and understanding yourself emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And with this eighth fire that's being lit, it's all about love, light, unity, and healing. And that's really where the world is now. Unfortunately, where the world is going sideways right now, it has to go sideways the way it is because it has forgotten that higher power. It has forgotten their fellow human being. And that's why now I see why Creator had said the world would learn humility and what it is to live without gratitude and would be forced to see their truth. And that's the beautiful thing about our brother asking about where does he find his peace and serenity is go within, and you will feel that it's a sacred fire. And where we are not, there's generations being born now, that children or grandchildren are being born now who don't are born without the understanding of division or anything like that. They see everything as equal, and that, right? So that for me is what they had said. It was the eighth fire, is it's been lit in the hearts of humankind, and that's to understand what our one of our foremost Indigenous four directional leaders said, Crazy Horse, is that I see a time of seven generations where the four races of mankind would gather under the sacred tree of life, and the whole earth would become one again. And the other sister Holly, who talked about my sister Sass as an artist, we were told by Laurie Riel, was one of our Indigenous four directional leaders, who was Métis, had said the people would sleep for 100 years, and when they awake, it will be the artist who will give them back their spirit. Because as artists, my sister is a musician, I'm a storyteller, I'm also a visual artist, and I also do other things when it comes to art. We are connected to a different power, to a different understanding, to a different connection through spirit. So, and now it makes sense even more so when Riel said that the people would sleep for 100 years, and when they awake, it would be the artist who would give them back their spirit, right? So, and that's why I see that happening right now. And unfortunately, there are some artists who are leaving this planet, and that so.
Thank you, Gerald. Pollywog, did you have another question?
Well, I want to say
Or
something
you can
else.
share.
I want to say something else to Sass. I want to say you're the first celebrity I have put on my Twitter account because I wanted to keep it clean. And I want to thank you again for being who you are. So thank you for giving me that pleasure of being able to put a singer on, follow a singer that makes music, that makes my life. And if I had to pick one thing on a desert island, it would be music. So you have filled my heart with so much joy today. I'm flying right now, so I'm
That's
gonna
so
try and stay calm.
That's so beautiful. It's a celebrity schlemebrity. That's what I like to say because it's all a bunch of crap as far as I'm concerned. Celebrity is just it's the lowest of the low in so many ways. But, that's just a perception. The thing is, we're every single one of us, in my opinion, is a celebrity. Once you start to talk to somebody, when you really listen, which is very difficult to do, is to really listen and not to want to say what you have to say. You know what I mean? It's so tough. But when you really listen to people, you'll find that everybody has something really, really powerful to say. And for example, when I'm doing a show, when I'm on a stage, I'm listening energetically to everybody there. Some of them aren't present. Some of them are just there because they got dragged there, or because or they're high, or what have you. And I can feel that too. I can feel everybody there, every single soul. And it's a collective experience. And I think that's something that we really have to start honoring, is that we are a collective. And as each one of us awakens, we awaken others just by the frequency. You know what I hope I'm not being obtuse here. I hope you get what I'm saying. But it is such an extraordinary time to be alive. We get to experience the shift of an entire planet. This is happening because of us, as each of us awakens. It's just exciting beyond measure. Music is a wonderful medium for it, as is storytelling, like my brother said, as is just being, like, if you go into the supermarket and you're holding this awareness, because you're going to wake people up. You're going to
Mhm.
wake up your brothers and sisters just by being you. But the key is to be you. And to be you, you have to get quiet and you have to go within.
Mhm.
That's where you connect to who you are. And when you do that, you bring the rest of us a massive gift, and you make
Mhm.
huge, huge, huge impact on this shift. So
Mhm.
thank you. Thank you, Polly, and thank you, everybody. You're making my
Mhm.
life great.
That's lovely, Sass. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just want to share something really quick about, I feel like we're all connected. Everything around us is connected, everything in the universe. So every thought that we have, every word, every action is connected. It's like that pebble in the water. When you drop that pebble and it moves out into the rest of the water, and we're all connected. And I see us as, holding hands, like everyone is holding hands all over the world, and everyone brings something and connects in some way, shape, or form, the piece of the puzzle. We're all here for that. Hold on, I have another
Mm-hmm.
request. Here we go. Devin. Devin is here. Hi, Devin. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
So, what are we talking about exactly?
Oh, you missed the whole conversation, did you?
Oh, yeah, I did.
We're talking about conscious creation, and Gerald is Cree Indigenous from Canada and sharing prophecies and sharing the knowledge of his ancestors and how we can connect and get grounded into our inner self and be guided by our higher power. Have you gone into any of your internal self and connected lately, Devin?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, well, this is what this room is about. We're connecting to the higher realms and sharing knowledge. So, if you want to listen, you're more than welcome. If you have a question for Gerald or Sass, you're more than welcome also.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Thank you. Shadow Fox is here.
Mhm.
Hi, Shadow Fox. Welcome.
Oh, hello everyone. Oh, Gerald and Sass and Dee. Oh my goodness. It is just so beautiful to be within this vibrational energy that we are all creating. And it's just so nice to sit back and be able to take the seat of the listener. And it is a great honor to hear you all speak. It resonates so beautifully within my heart, and so many of the teachings and the wisdom that you have all brought forward. We're all on the same journey, the same, the peace, the harmony, and I'm just thank you. I from the bottom of my heart, from the top of my heart, from my very beingness, I say thank you. Oh.
May I say
Oh,
something, Shadow?
go ahead. Oh, Lee Two Hawks.
Okay.
He's piping up.
Okay, I'm right beside her. Okay. All right. Anyhow, I've been waiting a lifetime to hear this conversation. This is stuff I knew as a child, and it's the stuff that I practiced throughout my adulthood. And this is the stuff now that's coming forward for so many people. I'm so appreciative of that we understand the connectedness of all of us, the oneness of all of us, and the wonderfulness of all of us. And we are indeed blessed to be on this channel at this time and co-responding to everything that people say. Thank you.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. Wow, that's really beautiful. I agree 100% with you. Ah, it's so great to be alive.
That it is. That it is. Mhm.
Pollywog.
Hi, hello again. Gerald, I love the way you speak. I love the way you explained, like the consciousness to the
Mhm.
previous question.
Mhm.
It lines up with, it lines up identical to the way I explained it, except it was a different way. And I found yours was much more eloquent. So I
Mhm.
absorbed some of that, and I'm going to be using a few of your words. So I thought it was so well said, really well said. And then you came in and you said, you know, you've been waiting for this, and kudos, brother, because like I've been 30 years itching for this stuff to come out and nobody to talk to. And, you know, like everybody looks at you like you're crazy. So
Mhm.
I'm so excited for this too. And I'm just stoked I'm a part of it because like, you know it, but it's just exciting to be a part of it, to know I'm going to,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm going to be a part of this. So
Mhm.
I feel your joy. I feel
Mhm.
your joy and your excitement. So
Mhm.
thanks so much for your words. They're
Mhm.
beautiful. They're so beautiful.
Well, thank you so much for that, sister. And what I've been living by lately, of late, is as the world is turning over and as the world is correcting itself, as the most powerful and the most sacred being is regaining her rightful place in the circle of life, that being the woman, which is why I'm honored to walk with my sister, Sass, in this work that we are doing. And that is that I've come to learn that my latest hashtag I follow is "It is what it is." And that I tell people, I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here not to convince you either. It is what it is. The truth I've come to know and the truth I come to walk with is the truth I'll take with me as I take my last breath, as I know I'm going to transition into a different state in spirit form. And one of the beautiful things that the creator had showed me was in October of 2020 when I asked creators, so what's with all this fear? Why are these people so afraid of this virus? What is it about this virus that scares these people? And creator said to me through spirit said, it's not the virus they're afraid of. It's their own mortality. They have been forced to face their own death or their own mortality, and they're realizing that they have forgotten what's on the other side, or if there is anything on the other side. So that's what they're afraid of. It's not the virus, it's their own death because they have forgotten what's on the other side. And this is why I'm using the element of air to show the human family, the little things we have forgotten, hugging our children, our grandchildren, going for a walk, hugging our fellow human being through compassion. We weren't able to do that. So that's when I asked, well, what? So for me, when that day happened, when the answer came through spirit, I realized, Gerald, have you actually really looked at your own death? And that because you're so busy living, I forgot to I forgot to look at that part of myself. And when my dad passed and went home to Creator in 2006, I thought about nothing but death for a year. When I was getting on a plane, getting in a vehicle, or getting on a train, I was saying to myself in my mind's eye, is this the day that I'm going to die? Because my father is my hero and he's still my hero. My father's not supposed to die. My father's not supposed to do that. He could do the best he could. But then I realized that when he went home, my world collapsed briefly and then but it made that's the greatest gift my dad gave. One of the greatest gifts he gave me was to appreciate life for really what it is. Because dad was a man who could never sit around and do nothing. He was always doing something. He was a backyard mechanic. He was a leader. He was dabbling in politics, all of that. And then when he left, death became real. But then in October 2020, I came to embrace the concept of my own mortality, saying, yeah, when I'm ready, when it's my time to go, it's going to be an amazing journey. And the only thing that I will regret is I love this human experience so much, I don't want to ever leave it. That's the question. Those are conversations me and my sister Sass have all the time about. It's the greatest time to be alive, and it's amazing to have this human experience. And but don't forget to live at the same time. And there will be those who will not agree with you. There will be those who will question, and that's awesome either way. I say to people, it's awesome if you believe me, but it's also awesome if you don't believe me, because it is what it is. I'm not here to save or heal you. I'm just here to share with you what I know, what little I know, and I will continue to do that. So I love you, sister, for that. So
Amen, brother.
So hopefully that answers your question there.
Thank you, Gerald. I just wanted to ask one more thing about the prophecies. Is there anything else in the vision of the prophecy that we need to hear and be aware of, or something that will maybe awaken us even more prior to? Yes.
Well, one of the things that they showed me a little while back was the Creator showed me through spirit in the dreamscape. I'm looking at Mother Earth from space, and I could see this water enveloping Mother Earth, but it didn't cover the country of Canada. And then I'm in space looking at this, and space itself starts to fill up with water. And space is infinite. And I'm thinking, wow, how is this even possible? How can space even fill up with water? And that's the beautiful thing about being on the spiritual road, is these things that it opens your mind in a different way. So when I came out of that and I woke myself up in that lucid dream, and I asked, okay, so what's that about? What's that? What you show me, Creator? Creator said, because we are in the time of the matriarch, we are in the time of the divine feminine, and we as a human family are born into water. We are born into water in the womb of our mothers, and water is life. Water gives life, right? So this spiritual awakening that's happening here on Mother Earth, it's not just here. It's not just in the Milky Way. It's happening in these other universes, because our ancestors from the stars, they too come from the Creator. But just like many races of man have lost their connection to their higher power, there are many races of the star people, the ancestors from the stars the world knows as ETs, who have lost their way and have become malevolent and not benevolent, right? So, and that was a part of it. So this awakening is happening throughout the universes, not just the one universe. And it says, wow. And, and that's how much I love the creator that's become my best friend, when he shows me those little things, and he says, wow, the little things. On my sister talks about the construct. It's just like, wow, that just blows. So that's another prophecy that they is sharing, and that's why the woman is rising. When they said to me August of 2017 that the when the great solar eclipse happened, August the 21st of 2017, and hit mostly the US. That's when they said that the grandmother said to me, this is the day we talked about, that the rise of the matriarch. And sure enough, what happened shortly thereafter was the Me Too movement started, and the woman started to rise, and is still rising. But now this awakening, when I say, you'll see on my post, I talk about the awakening is quickening for a reason. The gathering has begun. When they say the gathering has begun, it's all these light workers, these chosen elect, these empaths, telepaths, healers, seers of all races are coming together for the in love, light, unity to bring healing to the world, right? So that's the other thing. So when I see what's going on in the world with the political upheavals, the war in Ukraine, and everything that's going in other parts of Mother Earth, it's a part of what Creator said would happen. It's where the world is going to fall to its knees to be reminded to go back and walk with love, kindness, and compassion for ourselves and for our fellow human beings. So for us, it's a beautiful time. It's an amazing time. Me and my sister, this is when we say it's a beautiful time to be alive. And when you can understand that, then you come to understand that everything happens for a reason and will serve a purpose. That is why people, places, and things are put on your path to teach you, to teach you about life. And when you pray for guidance, direction, and healing, it may not come in a box wrapped in a bow, but through chaos, confusion, mayhem, and destruction. And two things you can say. So what are you talking about, Willis? Or you can say, what is this teaching me? Because you have, in order for me, I came to know my creator, and I could find the light in the darkness that I had walked. And I had come to understand that the creator will give the hardest battles to the strongest soldiers. Because if the creator will bring you to it, the creator will bring you through it. And in order for me to find that peace and serenity that I was seeking in my life, I had to go within and listen to the silence and look at those monkeys, those demons, those skeletons that came along with the trauma. And now it doesn't phase me at all, because I know Creator's got my back, and I know Creator's driving this bus that I'm on, and I'm just along for the ride. But as I'm going on this ride that the Creator is driving, I have to be very. I have come to learn to recognize Creator's presence so I can do something about it to earn Creator's grace. And that's what the last couple of days of fielding phone calls from people who I've been working with and teaching and sharing and even sitting in ceremony with is saying, well, this is going on in my life. And all I have to do is to say, well, look at it this way, tweak this, and you'll keep going. And that's all it took. It didn't take me an hour to 2 hours to tell them what needed to happen, because they had already opened their minds and their hearts to understanding that if healing was easy, everybody would do it.
Wow, thank you, Gerald. That is so
Mhm.
profound. Um, we do have some hands here. Diana, I know you were here earlier and you had to drop out, but so I'd like to get to you first.
Thank you, Dee. There was something you mentioned earlier, Gerald, when you gave your opening remarks that of the people that are going to be coming up and serving a purpose. In a book that I published is it talks about the descendants of Nephilim, and the Nephilim were in the Bible consigned to hell by God. They were just ordered destroyed because of they were considered abominations. Thing that I was going to say is, in my book, the children of the Nephilim and minor fantasy characters, vampires, werewolves, and witches, are believing mistakenly that they're consigned to hell for the same reason, because they are descended of the Nephilim. And that's because they were told that their whole life by their own ancestors and so on and so forth. That was their belief. Yet they never died with the Nephilim. Now, my thing about this is, and I give honor to the spirit that guided this story, because I don't claim to have been able to write it myself. That is telling the LGBTQ in this world that because you've been told you're consigned to hell, it does not mean that you are consigned to hell. They are speaking in behind a judge's bench they have no business being behind. The people who pick up a Bible in one hand and a gavel with the other are not speaking truth. And that's the thing that you amazed me when you said that. So my question to you is, what is the purpose that you said that the dual spirited will be serving? Do you know what you said, that they will be coming forward, but they have to break past where they've gone, or where they've been placed, or where they've let themselves be placed, myself included. But I let go of that long ago. Tell me, what is this purpose, so that I can know perhaps I'm supposed to serve in some capacity in that way?
Well, thank you, my sister, for that. And prior to European contact here on Turtle Island in North That's the Winawag in my Woodland Cree language, are the ones that walk between two worlds. Even to this day, they are revered higher than pipe carriers, people who hold ceremonies, people who hold medicine, because these two spirited sacred ones have multiple spiritual gifts and abilities, and are given knowledge that's to help the people in their time of pain, need, and suffering. But because society had disconnected from those sacred teachings through either it be religion, either it be faith, either it be government, either it be those who have lost their way, have lost those original teachings. These are two spirited ones, are the sacred ones, are the ones who are to have that spiritual authority to be able to help and pray and guide the people. But unfortunately, like I said, they have lost their way as well, because they have been suppressed or repressed, and those teachings were taken from them as well, right? So when they come to, as the Rainbow Warriors are rising and they heal themselves and find that emotional, mental, physical, spiritual balance, they'll come to know their higher power. Then they'll come to know what their spiritual gifts and abilities are. That being the LGBTQT is not about just makeup and dressing up and all of that. It's a sacred role and responsibility. I've held, when I hold fasting camps, and one of the fasting camps were strictly two-spirited people. And the messages that they got at that time in those ceremony was they had to find that balance emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, so they can come to understand their sacred role and responsibility as medicine people, as healers, as seers, as empaths, whatever their spiritual gifts and abilities were. And that because the world is, as the world is being taught humility, it was said that the world has been taught to judge a book by its cover, and that in this time, guess who they're going to go to for that guidance, direction, and that healing is not just the Rainbow Warriors, but as well as the misfits and the black sheep that the world has cast aside as saying they would never amount to anything, because they're being taught to think in a different way, and they're going to go to the very ones that they have cast away, the misfits and the black sheep, including the two-spirited, right? So that was the truth that was given to them in that fasting camp. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, it does. I started smiling because my cradle Catholic upbringing came in, and one of the things that I used to say is that no one understood the passion of Christ quite as much as the LGBTQ, because when family members despise you because of who you are, the same thing happened there. They were just, Christ was despised because of who he is. So who knows better what that passion felt like from the people that you love?
Well, Joshua said to me that 6 years in the wilderness, I got to hang out with Joshua, and the Joshua that the world knows as Jesus, and that came to share and said and sat with me that and said that there will be those who think that they know me, but they won't make it through. And those are the ones, he said, you don't have the authority to judge, condemn, and persecute yourself or your fellow human being, because the Creator created everything for a reason. It would serve a purpose. Because if you're telling the people that being LGBTQ is a bad thing, then you're saying to your very higher power that God created something bad. That doesn't work that way. It's how people have lost that way, and so yeah, so that's a part of it. That's what I just marvel how some of the things people will say when you get into spirit world. It is said that it's not, you're not going to be able to pay your way into heaven or spirit world. It's going to take more than saying in Jesus name, or it's going to take more than saying creator bless. You have to live and understand that we don't have the authority to abuse the free will we've been given. We were given that free will to govern our words and our actions and how we walk on this physical world. It was not to be able, it was not to abuse that free will. And that's a part of it. And there's a truth that's coming to you. When that flash in the stars happens, the world is going to literally come to understand who Joshua really was.
Oh, I know who he was.
You know
Yes,
that Joshua
I
was a
do
star
know.
being, yes. Yep. So yeah, thank you for that, sister, and thank you for opening up that door for the listeners to understand that part of the sacredness and sanctity of that of life and life itself, right? So, and you're part of the woman and men of wisdom that would be gathering at this time, right? So, yeah, so that's a part of it. So hopefully that gives you some guidance and some direction, my sister.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I'm so glad you came up. I have Andrea, and I think we're going to just have one more speaker here, Terry, and then we're going to be closing down the space as Gerald also has something else he has to do this evening. So, Andrea, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Honor, Gerald, always
Thank you.
needed
Thank
this
you.
today very badly. It's been a rough day, Gerald, but it's
Mm,
okay. It's a rough day. It's a rough day for the warrior today.
mm,
So happy to be here. And I wanted to really come up because it's so important. It's such an honor to have you share your knowledge with everyone and provide that strength and understanding for, I'm speaking specifically my own today, right? To have
mm,
a strong voice to just send that reminder, right?
mhm.
And
Yep.
then I actually was going to sort of ask about the matriarch and that, but you covered that beautifully. Just I laughed when you started speaking. I'm like, oh, he just answered all my questions without me even asking them.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to share with Sass, and I'm sure she's, it's an honor to have you here. You are always an idol. Um, and I just, I'm trying not to cry. What a horrible day. Anyways, it's important that, like people like me, when you were playing your music, you kept me alive. I
Bella,
was,
Bella, I hear you. It's
Uh,
okay to cry.
uh,
I had a shit day too. I'm not going to lie to you. But
thanks,
just
hon.
listening to you makes me feel better. And I'm glad we're here together. And I'm going to let you keep talking. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm so honored to hear that my music helped you in any way. That's the reason I make it. But keep going. I'm going to shut up.
Well, and I really wanted to. I'm not having a good day, and looking like an emotional wreck isn't my usual look. But hey, that's my today. It's a full moon, and whatever's happening's happening. So, but we know when I was 18 years old, I had a child, and then I had another one at 21. And when Gerald talked about you and said that he was working with you, it was just one more thing that I knew that this man was definitely a power to be reckoned with. It just connected
Mhm.
so many dots, and your music was so strong and your voice was so powerful. And in those moments when I didn't know what I was going to be doing, I played that music and I danced in my living room and I sang every
Oh,
song, and
Mm,
it took me through some hard years. So, I'm sure you've heard a few stories like this, but it's important that you understand how much impact your voice had on people in the world and the strength you gave us.
thank you.
So bless you.
And thank you so much. I can't tell you. I mean, that's the reason you make music, honestly. It's just to
mm,
connect. Because when believe me, felt exactly the same and listened to other people. Like, it was, I mean, there's so many bands that I loved, but it was like I would listen to this music and I would go, oh my God, I guess I'm not the only person that feels like this. You
mm,
know, I want to do this and make other people feel like they're not the only person. You know what I mean? So the fact that you just said that is a
mm,
huge, giant compliment. And it's the reason I do it. And my brother,
mm,
Gerald, is our connection and what we're working on together is pretty magical. And I want to see all you people at
mm,
it because
mm,
we are bringing you something and we need you guys there.
mm,
You
mm.
let us know. We'll rally up, that's for
All
sure.
right.
And
Yes.
yeah, and in terms of the hard day you're having, my sister, well, with everything you're going through, is ask yourself, what did you pray for? Because the Creator is giving you what you've prayed for, and that's why when things go sideways, sometimes it's really showing us to stand in our own truth, to stand in our own power, and understand. And sometimes we just got to bow our heads and say, "Okay, Creator, I surrender, and I allow you to take it from here on in." And that sometimes, because when we've been traumatized, sometimes we become stubborn, sometimes we get angry, sometimes we think we can do it all our own, and we can't. I've learned that the 6 years in the wilderness. So when you can just say to your higher power, today, Creator, I've had a shitty day. Thank you for that. I accept it. I embrace it. Now reveal to me what it is that I need to see for myself to be able to get myself up, dust myself off, and keep going, fighting the good fight. So, because right now, the light workers, the chosen elect, the ones who've made that agreement, being tried and tested right now to see exactly where you're at with it. And there are forces and entities who've lost it already, who think that they can regain what they've lost already, and those are forces and entities who don't work for the Creator. Well, that ship has sailed, and now you're just being taught as you rise above it all. As in order for the matriarch to rise, she has to understand and embrace her true power and sanctity as a powerful sacred being, a nurturer, caretaker, giver of life. That without you as a woman, we as men would cease to exist. Without the woman, the human family would cease to exist. Just like Mother Earth we would cease to exist if Mother Earth wasn't here to give us that life we need every day. And that, so more power to you, sister. I'm honored that you chimed in towards the end to acknowledge my other sister for what she brings, because in order for the woman to rise, we as men need to stand with her, support her, encourage her, and stand with her in her good times and then her bad times. Like my late grandmother said to me on her deathbed, and she said, if I ever see you disrespecting a woman, I will come back. And she only had to come back twice, and that was it. And I said, okay, I get it. So
I love you, Gerald. I love you. You only had to come back twice. Oh God, I love you. I love you. I
yeah,
love you all, actually.
yes. So
And we
yeah, thank
have,
you all. But yeah, my
thank you.
sister, yeah.
Sorry, Gerald. I didn't want to interrupt you. We have one more question and then we are going to be just doing some closing and
Thank you.
closing the space. Yes, Terry, go ahead. Terry?
Terry went to the bathroom. We'll be back.
We lost Terry. Okay, well, I just want to say this has been so enlightening. And I'm so glad, Sass, that you were here to join Gerald. And I am so happy to have connected with both of you, as I too was guided through this process and I was led here. So I wasn't sure where it was going to go, but I just made that phone call and it happened. So I'm just really glad that you're both bringing your gifts here. I know you are both working on something which you obviously probably are not able to speak about right now, but I am more than happy to have another room to help you share this so that we can spread it worldwide across and get everyone to, I don't know, I'm going to say attend. Oh, whatever that is. So, yeah, woohoo. And hopefully, I don't know where it's going to be, but maybe here in Canada. So who knows? Maybe everyone can come to Canada and have some fun with Sass and Gerald, and we can enjoy this. Can you imagine all of us being together in this energy? Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Gerald, did you want to say something for the closing? And Sass, did you want to share something for closing?
You go ahead, my brother.
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to open your mind and your hearts to this eighth fire that has been lit in the hearts of mankind, of humankind. And the last thing I want to share with you, when I left in 2015, Creator said through Spirit that there is light coming for humanity. But before that light will manifest, there will be mass chaos, confusion, mayhem, and destruction that will happen at that time to show the world how sacred and how sacred life really is, and who our children really are for us. And everything that we do is for our children and their children's children. And as the world, we're in the tail end of this 4D world, because the 3D is done. The 4D is now, we're just in the tail end of this 4D as we emerge into the 5D. And there will be, unfortunately, many that may not make it to the 5D, but it's like natural law. What goes up, something must come down. And as long as you look within and find that balance emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, and be grateful that you woke up this morning and you weren't looking at the dirt, and understand that there will come a time, and if you have a sound mind and a sound body, be grateful for that. Because when you woke up this morning, there were people who were taking their very last breath as they began their spirit journey, saying to themselves, I should have, I could have. There were children who woke up this morning who lost their parents to war, to sickness, or to the spirit world. There were people who were getting their legs or arms amputated because of a sickness. There were people who were being diagnosed with a terminal sickness when we began this. And there were those who have left this world as we had this podcast. So be grateful and be mindful of what the Creator loans you every day, which is life. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing what I say to my Creator is, thank you, Creator, for loaning me yet another day. I do the same when I go to bed, and I pray for my family, my mom, my family, and all those I've met in this world. And that, so I love you all. Thank you for taking the time. And Sass, my sister, truly an honor to be working with you and to have crossed paths with you. And Dee, you are a catalyst for so many things, my sister. And that, so you're just fulfilling your purpose of why the agreement you made for the Creator at this time. So much love and respect to you all.
Oh my God. Well,
So beautiful.
that's our Gerald right there, Gerald Auger. My goodness, you can see why I adore this human being. He's an incredible, incredible human being. And here's the thing, Gerald walks his talk. That is why I love him and I admire him
Oh,
above.
thank you, sister.
It's the honest truth. And I just would like to say thank you, everybody, for being here tonight and listening to us. Um, It is an honor and a delight. And thank you to Dee for being such a wonderful host. And how about the fact that all of us are technological geniuses?
Yeah, I had to learn this myself. So also, so it was a little bit of a challenge. Don't you worry, Sass, you'll get it. I want to thank everyone that's here and is on their journey. And if it wasn't for all of us and the more that are awakening, um, we wouldn't be here this way. And we're all connecting to each other. I'm just so grateful. I am so grateful for all of you. Keep doing your work. Keep connecting to yourself. Play it forward. You know, share this with someone. Play it forward. Continue to speak. Talk your truth and connect to yourself and really yeah, be aware, pay attention to your every step, be grateful, and sending lots of love to everyone. Thank you, Gerald and Sass. I know this is, you know, I just feel really connected here, and I know this is something that's going to grow very large, and I just feel it. I feel it. That's all I just have to say. I'm very grateful that I'm guided. Thank you. And I'm going to end off with a grandmother song. It's called I Am the Earth. And her name is Aliyah Schaefer.
Mm.
Grandmother, speak to me. I am the earth and the earth is singing. The water flows around this rock. The ancient ways I carry forth, the river carries me. Grandmother, speak to me. I am the earth and the earth is singing. The water flows around this rock. The ancient ways that carry forth, the river carries me. I am the earth, and the earth is singing through me. I am the earth, and the earth is feeling through me. I am the earth, and the earth is breathing through me. I welcome it all. I welcome all these teachings. I welcome it all. I welcome this evening. I welcome it all. I welcome all the light brings, all that light brings, away, away, away. All these teachings that this light brings, away, away, away. All that brings, all this light brings, away, away, away. All these teachings that this light brings, away, we are healing. 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 We are healing with the earth. We are healing with the earth. We are healing with the earth. We are healing.